Go ahead and get this Ephesians chapter 2 and 1. It says, and you hath he quickened. All right, so this is Paul talking to the Israelites that was in Ephesus. All right, some of the Israelites in Ephesus knew they were Israelites, but did the things of those, Greeks and spoke Greek and all that stuff. All right, practiced their customs. But then there were some Israelites over there who were just totally Hellenized and didn't even know that they were Israelites. They just thought that they were Greeks. Okay? But out of both sets, the Israelites that knew that they were Israelites and the ones that didn't know they were Israelites, were going to come those of the elect out of them who were going to come back to the knowledge and understanding. All right? That's why they were going to be quickened. All right, that quicken mean made alive. All right, and they were going to be made alive by having the truth once again. Okay, so this Ephesians 2 and 1, it says, in you hath he quickened. All right, so some of you Ephesians, some of you Israelites at Ephesus, hath he quickened, who were dead in trespasses and sins. All right. It says, wherein time past ye walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience. So that spirit still is working in these other nations and 2/3 of our people. That same spirit, the prince of the power of the air, all right, which is Satan, all right, and his physical counterpart, the so-called white man. All right, Esau, Edom of the Bible. All right. Now, like I say, we at all one point in time past walked to the course of this world. All right, but there were going to be an elect, according to the Bible. There were going to be an elect number of Israelites that were going to come out of that dead state of mind, that Gentile state of mind, and remember themselves. Okay. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 12 and 2. It says, ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led. So once again, Paul is speaking to the Israelites in Corinth, all right, and saying to those Israelites in Corinth, saying, hey, ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led. He letting those Israelites in Corinth know that, hey, you were Gentile minded before. You were part of the dead before. You were a heathen before. All right. Even Paul, because he was persecuting the church. All right. So he was part of the dead before. He was part of being Gentile minded before, if you will, because before the Lord came to him, all right, and knocked him off that donkey and supped with him, all right, before that, he was persecuting the church, all right. But then the Lord supped with him and quickened him, all right, made him alive by giving him the true and living word, all right, the true understanding of these scriptures, and he was made alive. And he was no longer Gentile minded. He was no longer in the congregation of the dead, all right. He was no longer like these other nations. He was back in the understanding of being an Israelite. This is 2 Corinthians 4 and 3. It says, but if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost. All right. Now the gospel is this truth. Matter of fact, it says 2 Corinthians 4 and 1. It says, therefore, seeing we have this ministry, as we have received mercy, we faint not, but have renounced the hidden things of dishonesty, not walking in craftiness, nor handling the word of God deceitfully, but by manifestation of the truth, commending ourselves to every man's conscience in the sight of the Most High. But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost. It is hid to them that are lost. That lost is G622. It's the Greek word apolumi, which is to destroy, render useless, to kill, be put to death, all right, to perish, all right, to perish. If you perish, you remain in the congregation of the dead, all right. You're not dead like in the ground and your spirit go back to the Father who gave it. No. You're spiritually dead, okay? Which at one point, all of us were spiritually dead. Like I say, even the men of the Lord, even the prophets, even the teachers who the Lord has raised up in these last days, even at one point, they were dead. All right? But it says, but if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost. It is hid to them that are still in a Gentile state of mind, that's still in a dead state of mind. All right? Once again, that word G622, apolumi, which you dead, put to death, perish. All right? Perish. Perishing. All right? This is 1 Corinthians 1. 1 Corinthians 1 and 18. Oh, matter of fact, I didn't even finish that. That 2 Corinthians 4 and 3 again. But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, that is dead, that is perishing. That is, it says, in whom the God of this world have blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Yahushua, who is the image of the Most High, should shine unto them. Okay? But if you don't get this word, and if this true doctrine, one understanding that's being taught right now, all right, first and foremost from the apostles of Great Millstone on down, if you're not believing in what's coming out of our mouth, all right, then you are lost. You are dead. All right? It's just as simple as that. It's just the truth. Okay? And we have to let this truth be known. You know, it ain't no bragging or boasting. It's just the truth, man. Okay? So that 1 Corinthians 1 and 18. It says, matter of fact, verse 17, it says, for Yahushua sent me not to baptize, but to preach the gospel, right? This good news, this truth. It says, not with wisdom of words, lest the cross of Yahushua should be made of none effect. For the preaching of the cross is unto them that perish foolishness. To them that are dead, what we speak out of our mouth is foolishness to you. Okay? If this is foolishness to you, then you remain in the congregation of the dead. If this is foolishness to you, then you are either a natural Gentile or you are Israelite who is Gentile minded. Okay? If this is foolishness to you, because it says he went to preach the gospel, all right? Not with wisdom of words, lest the cross of Yahushua should be made to be made none effect. For the preaching of the cross is unto them that perish foolishness, but unto us which are saved, it is the power of the Most High God. All right, and right now, who have that hope of being saved? See, Paul, he knew that he had the truth. All right, because the Lord came to him. He knew what he was speaking was the truth and that he was a man of the Lord. See, but in his reincarnation, he was going to forget who he was, you know, and, you know, he'd be back and at one point Gentile minded and have to, you know, prove himself to be a man of the Lord by enduring to the end. Okay. But going to this Proverbs that I've been quoting a couple times. This is Proverbs 21:16. It says, the man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. The understanding of what? The understanding of the gospel, the good news. These words right here, in truth, the only one true interpretation. All right? If one wanders out of the way of this one interpretation, this one understanding of these words, you remain in the congregation of the dead. You are just like one of these other nations who are called the dead. Okay? Because they weren't given this living word. They weren't given the understanding thereof. All right? Because the understanding thereof, that's how you're going to be saved. That's why Isaiah 33:6, it says, for wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. Wisdom and knowledge of what? The good news. All right? Wisdom and knowledge and the understanding of the wisdom and knowledge. All right? Because if you don't have the understanding of wisdom and knowledge, then you remain in the congregation of the dead. But if you do have the understanding of wisdom and knowledge, that means you're quickened, you're made alive, and it's going to be your stability of the times, and it's going to be your strength of salvation, your strength of being saved from the wrath that the Lord is coming with for these other nations, for the dead. And 2/3 of our people are going to remain in the congregation of the dead because they're going to remain in the ways of this world. They're going to remain loving these other nations and the dead. All right? That's what's going to happen. It's written. Excuse me. That good water. Well, this that good water right here, though. Right. So the man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. And like I said, at one point, all of us remain in the congregation of the dead. But he said that he left a remnant, okay, that was going to remember themselves and come back to the knowledge of the truth. This is Ezekiel 37:1. It says, the hand of the Lord was upon me and carried me out in the spirit of the Lord and set me down in the midst of the valley, which was full of bones, and caused me to pass by them round about. And behold, they were very many in the open valley, and lo, they were very dry. And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? All right, because those bones were dead. They were in the congregation of the dead. They didn't have the understanding of who they were. But he said, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Lord power, thou knowest. Again he said unto me, prophesy unto these bones. All right, what you gonna prophesy unto them with? These words, the living word, that they may be quickened. All right, so he said, prophesy unto these bones and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. All right, hear the word. If you hear the word, receive the word, have the understanding of the word, then you're quickened. Okay, it says, hear the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord power unto these bones. Behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and ye shall live. Because if you don't have this breath, then you're dead. If you don't have breath in you, you are dead. Physically, if you don't have breath in you, then you dead. Same thing, if you don't have this breath in you, this wisdom, spiritually, then you're dead spiritually. Okay, then you're just like one of these other nations who this word was not given to. Okay, And it was only given to us because we ultimately are the nation that's going to rule forever and ever, because we are the chosen children of the Most High God, the only begotten of the Most High God, which means we are God's. All right. We made these other nations, and all these other nations, to be fair, have had a chance to rule over all other nations. All these other nations have had a chance, and they all ruled in wickedness. They all ruled in unrighteousness. They all ruled in their own way, which was not the way of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah. So no one could actually have a good time and it be paradise if you're not living on this earth and ruling it the way that the Most High God, who created everything, said to live on this earth. To live on this earth, you got to follow these laws, statutes, and commandments to get the most out of it, for it to be a paradise and not a hell that it is right now. Okay? All these other nations have had a chance. Okay? But here it is, 2/3 of our own people, 2/3 of so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, they want to be and do the things of these other nations. All right. If these other nations say, oh yeah, that's cool, you can do those things, you can worship this, you can worship that, we even worship them, and this, that, and other thing, then it's a false doctrine. If these other nations are cool with it, it's a false doctrine, because they cannot understand this one true understanding, because it was not given to them. We, the Israelites, are going to rule the world forever and ever with the law, statutes, and commandments. All right, and I'm going to get to that though. But that verse 5 again, it says, thus saith the Lord power unto these bones. Behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and ye shall live. All right, and that breath is this right here, Sirach 7. Or is that? No, I think that's Wisdom of Solomon. Wisdom of Solomon 7 and 24. It says, for wisdom, so we're talking about wisdom, right? For wisdom is more moving than any motion. She, wisdom, passeth and goeth through all things by reason of her pureness. For she is the breath of the power of God, and a pure influence flowing from the glory of the Almighty. Therefore can no defiled thing fall into her. So for the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of these scriptures is the breath of the power of God. That same breath that was going to enter into the bones, okay? But it was only going to be a remnant, an elect number of those bones. An elect number of the Israelites were going to receive this breath, was going to receive this wisdom, okay? Because, like I say, and I like this scripture, I get it a lot, and we'll get it again in Deuteronomy chapter 4. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 5. It says, but ye didn't, verse 5, behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my power commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it. So this, matter of fact, verse 6, it says, keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding. This breath, this inspiration, all right, this wisdom from the Almighty God was given unto you, Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, exclusively. He said, this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations. So in the sight of these other nations, I'm going to give you, you Israelites, these laws, statutes, and commandments and a way to live on this planet Earth. The way to live on this planet Earth. Okay? This is your wisdom. He said, now this wisdom that I give to you in the sight of these other nations, this is what you do when you go over to your land, whether you go to possess it. All right? Because in verse 7 it says, for what nation is there so great, who hath God so nigh unto them as Yahweh our power is in all that we call upon him for? And what nation is there so great that have statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law which I set before you this day? What other nation? None. No other nation. All right. That's why it says, and jumping down to verse 33 in the same chapter. Did ever a people hear the voice of voice of God speaking out of the midst of the fire, as thou hast heard, and live? Or have God essayed to go and take him a nation from the midst of another nation? By temptations, by signs, by wonders, by war, and by a mighty hand, and by a stretched out arm, and by great terrors, according to all that Yahweh your power did for you in Egypt before your eyes? Have he done that for any other nation? No. No. They're the dead. We are the special chosen children of the Most High God, that he's given exclusively these laws, statutes, and commandments, and the way, and this wisdom. All right. He has given it to us. Okay. He says, so when you go to your land, matter of fact, verse 5 again, it says, behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as Yahweh my power commanded me. So this is Moses speaking to the Israelites. I have taught you judgments, even as the Most High commanded me to give to you, that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess. What was the land that we went to go to possess? Israel. All right. He says, when you get to your land, this is what you do. Follow these laws, statutes, and commandments, and this wisdom, which is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations. This is how you're supposed to live. This is what you're supposed to do. Okay. And part of that was this. This is Deuteronomy 7:1. It says, when the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, which was Israel, and has cast out many nations before thee, because there were other nations, those Hamite nations, that was already in our land. But he said he espied that land for us. It was our land. So they were in our land. And not only were they in our land, they were in our land serving their gods, their idols that they just made up, had altars and all that stuff in our land. So he said this, when the Lord thy God, Deuteronomy 7:1, when the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and has cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites and the Girgashites and the Amorites and the Canaanites and the Perizzites and the Havites and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Neither shalt thou make marriages unto them. Thy daughters thou shalt not give unto his sons, nor his daughters shalt thou take unto thy son. For they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you, and destroy thee suddenly. But thus shall ye deal with them. Ye shall destroy their altars, and break down their images, and cut down their groves, and burn down their graven images with fire. For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. He said, you Israelites are above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So when you get to your land, follow these laws, statutes, and commandments, this wisdom, this understanding that I've given you, this living word that I've given you. Because they got their gods. which neither see, nor eat, nor smell, nor none of that. Okay? He said, go ahead and destroy their altars, break down their groves, break down their images, and cut down their groves and burn their graven images with fire. Show them no mercy. Utterly destroy them. All right, this is what he told us to do with those other nations that just make up idols. Matter of fact, all nations have their gods, and they just made them up. This is Psalms 96:5. It says, "For all the gods of the nations are idols, but Yahweh made the heavens." All right, Yahweh is the only true and living power. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the Israelites. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, wake up. All right, because all the gods of the nations are idols. So any nation that down with Catholicism, that's down with Christianity, that's down with Jehovah's Witness, that's down with Lutheran, Pentecostal, Seventh-day Adventists, that's down with Muslims, Quran, and Buddhists, and all these religions that's out here. All right, you got other nations down with them. It ain't the truth. It ain't the one true understanding of this Bible. All right. All right. It's something else. So if you, being an Israelite, a so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American, is also down with those religions and down with those philosophies and down with those doctrines that other nations are down with, then you remain in the congregation of the dead. You remain in the congregation of the dead. All right? And you don't have no excuse, because if you're hearing this now, you're hearing the truth. But guess what? If our gospel be lost, if our gospel be hid, it is hid to those that are lost. It is hid to those that are dead. Okay? So, let me see. Right. So he said that, hey, kill all these other nations that's in your land, tear down their groves, tear down their idols, all those things that they made up, tear them up, utterly destroy them, right? But what did we do? This is Psalms 106:34. They did not destroy the nations concerning whom the Lord commanded them, but were mingled among the heathen, and learned their works, and served their idols, which were a snare unto them. And that's the same thing that's going on now. If you in this modern day Christianity, call yourself a Baptist, a Jehovah's Witness, a Catholic, all these other things, then you are dead. You are mingled among the heathen. You are mingled among these other nations. And you learn their works and serve their idols, which is a snare unto you, even unto this day. Even unto this day. Okay? It's letting you know right here. You can't get around these scriptures. Okay? We were supposed to destroy that, but we didn't. And that's why we're in the predicament that we're in today. But there was going to be a remnant. All right? This is Ezekiel 36. Ezekiel 36:17. It says, "Son of man, when the house of Israel dwelt in their own land, they defiled it by their own way and by their own doings." Because he told us to utterly destroy all them other nations that was in our land. Destroy them, destroy their idols, destroy their groves and their altars. But we didn't. We were mingled with them. We learned their works. We served their idols. That was our own way. All right? That's why I said, "Son of man, when the house of Israel dwelt in their own land, they defiled it by their own way and by their own doings. Their way was before me as the uncleanliness of a removed woman. It was like a period pad. You know, that's how we look to the Lord, by doing those things. And that's how our people look now, like just a bloody tampon. All right? You in the modern day Christian church.